Happy Wednesday, Infiniteers! We are back in Zootopia, and today I'm going to finish up this version of my Zootopia toy box by building the remainder of the downtown area, which will be over that way. And I've already placed some of the building pieces that I'm going to need ahead of time. But if you've been following this series at all, then you know that I have two versions of this toy box. The ideal version contains all four major districts: Savannah Central, Sahara Square, Tundra Town, and the Rainforest District. However, that did not leave me enough memory on my Wii U for all of the logic, and so I had to remove the Rainforest District and Tundra Town from this end of the toy box. And to fill that empty space, I extended Sahara Square into this area, and I extended the downtown district into that area, which is what we're going to build today. And I reused a lot of the buildings that I was already using, which helped save memory. But for the extended downtown area, I didn't want to just place more of these same buildings down there and have this look so generic. I wanted to do something unique and original, something that might make me feel better about removing the beautiful Rainforest District. And I got my inspiration for this part of my toy box from an official developer toy box that was called Paws N Puns. The Disney Infinity developers had built this toy box and made it available for download when they released the Zootopia figures and power discs, and it contains some very clever building designs. And by the way, I want to thank Quing's Let's Plays for this video footage. I'll put a link to their video in my video description in case you want to watch their entire playthrough of this toy box. But I really liked these buildings because they captured the look and feel of Zootopia so well. And so I grabbed some screenshots that I could use as a reference, and I figured out how to recreate some of these buildings, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Now, first up, we have this giraffe building, and it's a clever mix of apartment building pieces and basic building blocks. And I really appreciate the fact that Quing used the magic wand in his video to see how the buildings were put together. This was really helpful for me. Here's a look at the base of the building. And here's another look at it. I would have loved to see this building from more angles, but I had enough here that I could recreate this building pretty close to the original. Next we have what I call the waterfall building, which you see there on the left. It has waterfalls on all sides of the building, and here's another look at that. They used some waterfall terrain pieces and some flat walls from the basic blocks drawer that are styled like water. And then they stuck some awnings on the doorway at the bottom and a tower on top. And it's very simple, but it's effective. And then we have this red building, which I personally didn't care for, so I didn't bother to try to recreate that. Next we have this ivy-colored building that features a ledge hang maze to get to the rooftop park. And to save memory, I chose not to do the ivy on my version, or the park on top. And then there's the round building next to it. And here's another shot of that. You can see it on the right. Quing decided to take a closer look at this building too, so he could see how it was put together, which again helped me a lot. And I debated about whether to add the plants on my version, and ultimately I left them out. But I think I have enough memory for those plants, so I may or may not try to add some in. I might just do that anyway, just to show you how you would do that, because the bounding boxes there are kind of tight. To the left of that is a dark glass building with palm trees on the top and foliage on the corners. And this is another building that I really liked, so I chose to build that in my toy box too. Alright, so as we get started here, we're going to begin with the round building, because I really like that, and we're going to place that in this little spot here. So I'm going to place this helper block. And then this, as I pick these pieces up, you can see what drawer they're in and where you find them. But this is the Tomorrowland Park piece number 7. And we're basically just going to make a round base of that. And then we'll do the same thing. Stack it up. And one more time. And if you don't have this building, you can use any building you want, really. It doesn't have to be round. It doesn't have to look like this, but I really like the look of this. So that's what we're going to do. All right, and then I think it's the Skyscraper wedge. Let me grab my screenshot here. Make sure I get this right. Yeah, the wedge. And we're going to put this up on top. And I've got it lined up so that it's at the same center, but I'm going to bring it over one nudge to the right and one nudge forward. So it puts it on the edge of the building. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other sides. And that leaves a 1 block wide gap in the middle. And so we'll come over and stick one of these basic building blocks in there. And using the Agrabah stucco for another building, so we're going to have to come back and change that. But for right now, what I want to use for this is the grass texture. I'll set that to be my theme. We're going to place one at the middle of each of these. And then we'll go pick up this upside down vertical ramp, drop that right in there. Because that's what they had done on their building in the video. It has kind of an interesting look. And then to go on the top of the building, oops, we will use the spherical building. We want to center that like you see there. Okay. And that's really about all I had done with my building. I didn't put the plants in there, but if you wanted to, and like I said, I think I have enough memory after doing all the logic, I could have gone back and done this. But I'll show you how to do that. I'm not going to use the same plants that they used, which were from the Small World power disc, but one of the things you'll run into is this little bounding box issue. I know there was ways around that you can do, little tricks and stuff, but just to make this really easy, I'm going to restyle this piece with the Toy Story terrain. I'm going to set that to be my theme. And that just makes the bounding box really short, so it will sit in here like that. And we'll put one on each of the 4 sides. And I'd like to place one about here, but you run into that bounding box again. If I bring that out, that sticks too far off the edge of the thing. And so we could put one maybe here like this, and another one over like that, and just put a ring of these around. And then we will style these to use, you could use the Pirates terrain, you could use the jungle palms. I'm going to use the jungle palms, and I'll apply. I like the way that looks. And I kind of like that better. Oops, I forgot to put a couple of them in over here. I like that better than the Small World piece that they used in the video. So you don't have to duplicate what somebody else does exactly. You can tweak it up a little bit. Even my designs, if you don't like the plant choices that I make, you can choose your own. Whatever you think looks good. know this takes a little bit of time to style these, but we're almost done, and then we'll see what we got. And I have not done this ahead of time, so I have no idea what this is going to look like. I'm seeing it for the first time just like you are. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. It's a very unique looking building. The one downside of this round piece here is that unfortunately the building pieces sit up above it. I don't know why they did this and made this a little bit shorter. They should have made it a little taller, and then you'd be able to sit stuff on top of it. But they didn't, so I don't know how the developers did that in their video and put those plants on top, but I'm just going to ignore it and not do it. But there's our first building. I think that looks pretty good. All right, the next building we're going to do is the giraffe building. And that's going to sit right out over here. And I'm going to put down a little spacer block. We're going to put that right to the edge of the terrain. And while we're right here, because this isn't the theme that we're going to need for the blocks we're going to use, we'll change the theme on this to be our Agrabah Bazaar stucco. I'll set that to be my theme. And then for the base of the building, excuse me, we're going to use this stone skyscraper piece. Bring that over and put that right on the edge of that block that we just put down, and we're centering it on this intersection. And then we're going to take that piece out. And we're going to put down another 2 of these. So we have a stack of 3 of them total. And we'll come grab this little piece. And for the base of the building, we're going to put 3 of these along the side, 2 high. Like that. And then we'll pick this piece up and put it down. We'll bring another one up, and we'll stick this right here like that. And we're going to go up and do it same thing, so that we have kind of a little stair-step deal there. And then we're going to place one more on top of that. One more on top of that, but bring this one back over to the left. And then we're going to come over here and put 6 of these down like you see there. And do that again, make it 2 blocks high. Okay, so there's the shape of the building with just those apartment building pieces. And now we want to fit the blocks in around this. And we're going to use this piece. You already saw this one, so let's just go ahead and delete that. This is from the basic blocks drawer, so it's styled like all of our others. We're going to put these on there like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay. We'll grab this little Metroville Mart, which is from the buildings category. That'll be the front of the building. And then we're going to use the blocks again just to kind of shape the building here. So we'll bring this all the way up like this. On a row of those over. We'll grab this one and come up here. And do like that. Kind of repeat. Same thing on the other side. Let's see. I'm going to grab this tall block. Place that there like that. And then put that one there like that. Use this long wedge block up here. And then we'll put a smaller wedge, this little ramp block, like that. And those like that. And that kind of smooths the edges a little bit and gives the giraffe neck a little bit less of a square shape to it, which is good. And then we're going to use some flat wall pieces as kind of the spots on the building, on the giraffe's neck. So this short block wall will sit alongside of this like so. And we're going to put the first one down in this corner. We'll put another one, oops, right down here. This one will sit along here like that. Another one right there. This one's going to sit here like this. That adds some nice little detail. And then for the horns, there's a column. We can place this right here, and I'm going to offset it just so that you can see both of those when you're out in this direction. And there you go. There is our giraffe building. And I think that looks kind of good. It's a very unique looking building, and it's not something you'd probably see in any other kind of setting except Zootopia. So I like that. Alright, next to that we're going to put the waterfall building. And the base for that is going to be this building right here that we've already used. So I'm going to pick that up and put it back. And then we're going to bring this over here, put it right on the edge of the terrain, right up on the edge of that terrain seam there. Okay. And for the waterfalls, we're going to use this piece out of the terrain drawer, the waterfall end. We'll put one right up here at the top of the building, and once again we want to style this using the Zootopia theme. If you don't have that power disc, any stone texture is going to look just fine. I'm going to put one on 3 of the 4 sides. We don't really need to put it on the back. I think that's sufficient there. And then, let's see, we want to, if we look at the number of floors that are there, we want to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th one. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's where we're going to put the next level. If you don't get that exactly right, that's fine. But I just want it to look like a continuous waterfall, and this is going to help us do that. On the building in that video, they had some of these flat panel pieces here, which they had styled to use water. and they ran that up underneath them. And I'm not going to do that. I think that's sufficient right there. The piece that they used for the tower on the roof was this one, the San Francisco Tower. We'll put that on the top. If you don't have that piece for whatever reason, just use whatever you want up there. There's that. And I want a way to climb that building. So we're going to use our pipe climb here. Let me pick that up and put it down. We'll bring this over to the corner of the building. And run that all the way up to the top. Okay, and then for the front of that, we'll just reuse the awning that we used over here, so we're not bringing any more models into the memory. Since we already loaded the model for this, we might as well reuse it. I'm only using it in that one spot right now. And we'll put this right along the front. Oops. And there we go. There's the waterfall building. It's pretty straightforward. Very simple, but works pretty well. Okay, the next building will be that dark glass building. And once again, let's put some spacer blocks in here to help us position this properly. I don't think the positioning is that important, but put two of those followed by a long block. And then we will grab that, which is out of building sets group 2, and bring that forward. And once again, we want to put this right on the back edge of the terrain, just like you see there. And then we can take these little helper blocks out. And that should pretty much center that right on the road here. So that looks good. Now, there's a short little level here, and you got a couple options for what you want to do. We're going to leave a 1 block gap here around this that doesn't have anything, and you can put a wall of these around the perimeter if you want. It's going to be so shaded, though, you're not going to see that. And so what I chose to do instead, I chose to put down some terrain pieces here. And let me just grab this. It'd be quicker to get to that part of the drawer if I pick this up and put it back. We're going to use one of these. And I'm going to style this with the Death Star theme. Imperial Space Station. I'll set that to be my theme. So I only have 4 objects there versus like 12 or 16 or whatever it is to fill this in with those little tiny pieces. All right, and then on the corner of this, I want to go to the plants, and ideally I want to put these in here. And let me just style this. We'll go back to this, just to make sure I get the orientation of these the way I want them. All right, so I want to orient it like this with that red flower toward the middle. And you notice I spun that around 180 degrees when I brought it over here. So that little red flower is actually going to be on the front left side of this, okay? And then on the back side, Once again, let me pick this piece up and put it down. I haven't rotated it now. We're going to bring this back. And we're going to rotate this like that. Okay? And this side is going to be the exact same way. And we're going to leave that short because you'll notice this sticks up above the top of that floor and it's going to cause a bounding box issue. So we want to leave this set that way for right now. So you can see how I've oriented those flowers. Not that it overly matters, but I think it's good to do that. Okay, and then we're going to pick this piece up and put it down and bring this up right like that. And then we'll grab this piece and center this right in the middle of that, like you see there. And again, you can see where these pieces are. If you look at the ribbon at the bottom, when I pick it up, you can see it's out of Building Sets Group 2, and you can see what it looks like in the editor, in the drawer there. And then these we're going to put right along each side of this central cube here. Like that. So there's the main structure of the building. And then on top of it, we're going to put some plants. Just trying to get to my screen grab here. Back down to the plants drawer. We're going to use Fantasy Terrain 4. We're going to place 5 of these here. And this one's going to have the little purple flower there oriented in the front left. This one like that. The one in the middle like that. Like that. And like that. Okay. And so now to style these, what we're going to do is we're going to come to this little plant here, open the styling menu, and we're going to select Briar Ridge Terrain 4, and I'll apply that. And you notice what that did was create the tree going up through here and added this foliage on the front corner, which looks really cool. We're going to do that with all 4 of these. And I like the way that looks. Just has a very unique look. It looks like something you'd expect to see in Zootopia. Because a lot of the buildings have plants and things on them in a way that other buildings don't. I like how that looks. For these up here, I have the Dinosaur World power disc down. And so for each of the 4 on the corners, I'm going to use that. If you don't have that, you can use the Zootopia terrain or anything that gives you a palm tree. You could use the pirate, probably not the pirates. You could use the Hawaiian tree from Stitch's Tropical Rescue. That's probably your best bet. But I'm going to use the Dinosaur Island Fern for the ones on the corner because that's what they used in that toy box, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And then for the one in the middle, we're going to use the Briar Ridge terrain. That's a very tall tree, and that's what you get. It's a very unique looking building, and I like that. Okay. The next 2 buildings will go pretty quick. So once again, back to the blocks drawer. Put those down like that. And then for this building, we're going to use the Tomorrowland Skyscraper middle. I'll bring that out. We're going to put that half a block away from there. We're going to put this 3 high, rotate it one turn, and we're going to do that. If you don't have that, you can use whatever building here you want to use. Doesn't really matter. Alright, we can delete those. Now for the front of this, what I will use is, actually I already have it. It's back here. This is out of the buildings drawer from the Incredibles playset. On the video there, they had used a basic building block flat piece painted black with an awning over top. I thought this looked a little more decorative, so I chose to use that. I like the way that looks. If you wanted to, you could put those ledge hangs on here. You could add the park on top. The little park, rooftop park piece is out of building sets group 2. It's right near these pieces. And it's the City Park Terrace. This is the piece they had used on that video, and they stuck that up here. So if you wanted, you could stick that up there. I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to save memory. Excuse me. And for our last building, this is actually going to be pretty bland compared to all the others that we've done. But we're going to put a little spacer block over here. And then we're going to bring this forward. Again, if you don't have the Tomorrowland buildings, just use whatever you want here. I'm going to stack this 3 high and then put this little window column top piece on like that. And there we go. There are our buildings. And it gives some real character to this corner of the toy box, and I like that a lot. Oh, we got one more building we need to do here. Let's pick this piece up. And we're going to move this over a couple of nudges like you see there, because we need to leave some room to get in through here. And for this building, if we go to the buildings category, again, this is an unremarkable building. If you want to put something different in here, feel free. There's nothing stopping you. And that just gives us some spacing for the sidewalk. But I'm going to reuse this piece. Again, just because I'm trying to save memory. So I can't go too fancy with all of my buildings. But we'll put that there. Take these little spacer blocks out. And we'll reuse this building piece here. The Metroville Mart. We'll put one on this side and one on this side. Alright, there's all our buildings. And now I'm going to go and add in the last few little details. I'll do that offline, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I am back, and I have added in all of the remaining decorations and things. So I've added this little plant, and once again, this is the Fantasy Terrain 3. I've styled it using the Zootopia theme. And like I said before, if you don't have that, you can use the Pirates terrain. That would work just as well. But just as you can see what I've got there, I added some over here in this corner just to kind of fill the gap between those buildings. I added a couple of them over here. And I've added this piece of this plant cluster there on either side. And we're going to style this using the Zootopia theme. I like the idea of that waterfall kind of spilling into that. I think that looks really good. And if you don't have that, any kind of jungle theme or something will work there. Added a couple of plants over in this back corner, like you see there. And I added one over here. We have a street light here right by this road seam, and one on the other side. And a plant cluster, some palm trees behind that, some palm trees behind that. Street light here on the corner and one directly across from it. And I think that's pretty much everything that I've added. I think that's all there except for one more thing. And we're going to put a little feature here. It's going to be a mushroom that's going to correspond to one of the phrases in the text displayer. We're going to use this little pillar block, and it doesn't really matter where exactly you place that. And for the theme on this, we're going to style it. If you go over left to the Star Wars themes, we're going to use the plastic garbage texture. Believe it or not, I'll set that to be my theme. And then we're going to put a capper on top of that. This little full dome. And there's our mushroom. It's just kind of a interesting sculpture that will sit there. It's a landmark that's very distinctive, which is what you need with the clues for the mystery part of the game. But with that, this version of my Zootopia toy box is finished. Next week, I'm going to go back to the state of this toy box at the end of episode 4, and I will start building the other version of this toy box that includes Tundra Town and the Rainforest District. This is my original vision for the toy box, and I think it's the ideal version of it. And if you're on a system with more memory than my Wii U, then this is the version that I would recommend that you build. But of course, it's up to you. You can build whichever version of the toy box that you like, or combine elements of both builds into your own version of Zootopia. It's completely up to you. But that's all for me today. Before you go, leave a comment and let me know what you think of these buildings and this version of my toy box. And as always, I'd love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next episode. You can do that by clicking my photo in the lower right corner of this video. Thank you for watching. Take care.